drove myself to the hospital. I hemorrhaged internally, so I didn't know that I was hemorrhaging. I just didn't feel good. And so I was pregnant. I was 5 months. Drove myself to the hospital, got all the way up to the 8th floor, and I said to the woman, I'll never forget it, I said it to her at the desk, I said, gee, I'm pregnant, and I really don't feel good. She says, well, and thank God I had the ability to sign my name, and I signed my name in, and I had been high risk because I had placenta previa, and that's how they knew who I was and what was wrong with me. And although I died twice, I had 14 and a half blood transfusions. Wow. My daughter was born 2 pounds. She's a thriving 9-year-old today. She's a wonderful child. The doctors later on looked at me. I didn't recognize them because, like I said, I was in and out of consciousness. I was in a coma. Ultimately, I had gone into a coma. And I didn't recognize this doctor. She kept staring at me. I went to go visit. My daughter was still in the hospital. She spent a lot of time in the hospital growing. And again, backing up, my family didn't know any of this. Yeah. So really, I shouldn't have survived. My child shouldn't have survived. They didn't know what was happening, but my aunt always, my grandmother always.
There's people in the background.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm in the elevator once going up to visit my daughter, and this woman is staring at me. And you could tell she had fatigues on, so she was a doctor. And so finally I looked at her, I said, is there, something you're staring at? Like, are my pants not done, or... I have toilet paper on my foot. And she says, no, I look at you and I'm amazed. She says, I was one of those doctors that saved your life in the operating room, she said. And she says, I can't believe that I actually see you walking around. She says, you can't be walking around. She says, somebody up there was looking out for you. I said, yeah. And again, I wasn't an active Christian at the time.
Okay,
keep that in mind.
But he still had
I was like, yeah, all right, yeah. I said,
Amen.
yeah. I said, and, I made several jokes about it and, really didn't look into understanding it. And the Lord really wanted me to, and I didn't. But this one, I didn't have a choice. I was kind of taken right through it. So, the Lord will get your attention if he wants your attention. Amen. So if you're going to ignore him like I did, you're just foolish because it's just a waste of your life.
I want to get into... what your vision is for the future. But before we do that, I just want to magnify something that's very important, because there's plenty of people out there that have been praying for healing. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, wait a minute, I've prayed maybe 100 times for healing. I remember part of your testimony where you said that people that came up to you wanting to pray for the healing, that you stopped them.
Yes.
Share that, because that's important, very important. People need to hear that.
Okay. I could only give one, idea, concept of in what was in my mind was when my child asks me for something. I don't usually refuse my child unless it's not good, and she knows. She was taught, to have patience. And when you ask me for something, I say yes. I will eventually do it. You're just going to have patience and wait for it. Now, the Lord doesn't want us to keep asking and begging and pleading, please God, because you know what? Every time you re-pray a prayer, you're already, now, the Lord in the Bible, he tells us, in the Bible, it's in writing, he tells us, your prayer is answered. Your prayer is answered. So your healing is there. It's just waiting for you to take it. But by you re-praying the same prayer over, that's just dismissing the first prayer and the answer to that prayer, and you're just pushing it away, and now you're asking for it all over again. That's silly. The reason why I stopped people from praying for me again was because I already accepted my healing, and I was okay with that. And I said, thank you very much. I said, but once is enough. I know I have the healing, and now praise and thanksgiving is my victory, and that's what I have to do. So, just give the Lord thanks for my healing, and that's really all I need. And that's so important because, if you think about it, He is our Father, and, He doesn't want to be nagged. And when He says He's going to do something, He does. So you just, that is part of faith too. Yeah. That you got to be relaxed about it. Ask for that inner peace, that surpasses all understanding, and He will give it to you. It's surprising. It surprised me because when I asked for it, I actually felt it. I was, in one circumstance, it was not the cancer circumstance, and I just sat there and I cried like a child, almost having an out-of-body experience. And and I just couldn't take it anymore.